What's up, everyone? It's the Autistic Scyther here, and this is part 2 of Top 10 Most Disturbing Pokémon. For those that already don't know, part 1 part 1 is already up on my channel, so if you want to, I suggest you take a look at that video to see numbers 10 through 6, then come back for the remaining 5. Just because Halloween is winding down doesn't mean that spooky season has to end anytime soon. So, without further ado, let's get back into it. Moving on next, at number 5, we have Dragalge. This time we're heading into the briny deep to take a look at a Pokemon that can basically give Kingdra a run for its money. And this is a Pokemon that can cause whirlpools by yawning. So yeah, that really says a lot. But of course, Dragalge is that much more terrifying, as many of its Pokedex entries mention how Dragalge can just spit a corrosive poison that can more so corrode the hull of a tanker ship. Yeah, it's that potent. However, that's not the half of it, because many of its other Pokedex entries just sum it up in one sentence. Tales are told of ships that wander into Dragalge's territory, never to return again. Yeah! Alright. The fact that this may have happened several times before in the past to warrant a cautionary tale like this is pretty frightening. And of course, Pokemon Legends ZA kicked up Dragalge's terrifying nature to 11. And as much as Mega Dragalge looks interesting, basically its entire Pokedex entry mentions how it can spit a potent poison. The poison that Dragalge can spit can basically cause the regenerative properties of cells to go into overdrive. And basically, the poison that it spits, it spits a deadly poison that is toxic to everyone but itself. Yeah. But honestly, what does that sound like to you? Oh yeah, cancer. Yeah, the fact that a Dragalge's poison can basically cause cancer in a normal person really does say a lot. It is really frightening to say the least. And my maternal grandmother died of lung cancer. So hearing that Dragalge's poison can basically give a person the big C really, yeah, it's something I don't want to see at all. Moving on next, at number 4, we have Mimikyu. This time we head from a deep sea predator to a Pokemon that's just so adorable and cute that everyone seems to essentially want to be friends with it. And honestly, who could blame them? I mean, Mimikyu is just so, look at him, so adorable and cute, and he just wants to have friends, wants so desperately to have friends so much that he has to dress up like Pikachu, the mascot, in order to make friends. At this point, I have to say, I hear you, little guy. But that being said, oh boy, its Pokedex entries show an entirely different story. In fact, for those that don't know, the reason why Mimikyu wears that Pikachu costume is because its true appearance is so horrifying that it can kill anyone that sees it. Yeah. In fact, a scholar that voluntarily wanted to see its true form ended up lifting up a corner of its Pikachu costume and died of a horrifying illness sometime later. And even further, it doesn't even have to be its fault, or it basically does it on accident, as basically at a point when a gust of wind just blew up part of its Pikachu costume, a passing trainer that saw its true form ended up dying of shock sometime later. And it was just passing by. Just, my god. Honestly, this thing just needs a hug. This thing needs a hug. Only you'd more or less just pass through it because it's part ghost. You know what? Just self-forgive it a head pat instead. That's what I do. Moving on next at number 3, we have Chandelure. Now, honestly, for those that don't know, Chandelure is one of my favorite Unova Pokemon, and possibly one of my favorite Ghost and Fire type. And I'm not the only one that likes this thing, as there are so many others, either in the Countdown community or PokeTuber community, who actually like Chandelure for what it is. And these include the likes of Josh Scorcher and the Green Scorpion. So if they like it, you know it's good. That being said, for as much as many people, myself included, love Chandelure and a lot of how amazing it is, either in battle or in terms of design, its Pokedex entries are pretty unsettling. As basically, this is a Pokemon who can basically take a person's soul or spirit and burn it up within its flames, just leaving behind a person's body as an empty, shriveled up husk. Yikes. And while Pokemon Legends ZA did give Mega Chandelure basically a Pokedex entry all of its own, where it made one of its eyes a sort of viewpoint to the spirit realm, yeah, it's honestly pretty tame. But of course, the worst of it comes courtesy of Pokemon Sword and Shield. Specifically, Pokemon Shield. And honestly, yeah. According to this Pokedex entry, any house that has a Chandelure as either a light fixture or a centerpiece of sorts, a decorative centerpiece of sorts, is said to have funerals as a recurring occurrence, or so it's said. For anyone that's seen a horror movie, they know involving a haunted mansion, they know the chandelier is the spooky centerpiece of the entire thing. And it's this Pokedex entry that just lives up to that definition. Yikes. Moving on next to number 2, we have Aegislash. And now, time for a more noble demon. And in terms, yeah, that really does say a lot. And not only has Aegislash become a fan favorite when it made its first appearance back in Pokemon X and Y, but basically, ever since then, most of them have mentioned about its noble demeanor and how it's able to find kings just by telling their noble intentions. leaving its pre-evolved forms Honedge and Doublade to have the more spookier entries. Oh boy! All that changed with Pokemon Sword and Shield. Specifically Pokemon Shield. Wow, kind of ironic to say the least. Basically, in terms of its defense form or its shield form, for its shield form, its Pokedex entry reads that uses its more spectral manipulative powers to basically manipulate people and Pokemon into building the kingdom that it wants. Yikes. That being said, its sword form is even worse, as basically, according to that Pokedex entry, it talks about how a king used to rule a kingdom with an Aegislash by his side. Just as soon as as soon as Aegislash drained all of the king's life force, his kingdom fell with him. Yeesh! Not only can Aegislash manipulate people and Pokemon to build the kingdom that it wants, but can cause said kingdoms to fall just by draining the life forces of the king that rules it. Oh my god, that's just horrifying. But that's not the worst from Kalos. No, that just happens to be number 1. And the number 1 entry. Malamar. Yeah. Most of the time, Malamar's Pokedex entries talk about its hunting tactics, how it uses the lights on its body to basically draw in prey, so it could essentially just more or less reach out and snag a snack. Kind of stuff that you'd normally expect a squid to essentially do while hunting. Yeah. If there's ever a Pokemon that's considered a villain, it's Malamar itself. And that really does say a lot. Because of course, this leads us into Pokemon Shield. Yeah. Ironic, isn't it? 3 spooky entries involving Pokemon Shield. According to its Pokédex Shield entry, Malamar's hypnotic powers have more or less influenced certain historical events. What? Yeah, it gets worse. Because Pokemon Legends ZA gave us Mega Malamar. And according to its Pokedex entry, Mega Malamar swirls its tentacles around and uses its psychokinetic abilities to more or less brainwash people's minds, thus mind controlling them and wiping their memories and mind controlling them. Yeah, the fact that it can use its mind control ability to influence and control people, as well as influencing actual events, is frightening. And it proves that most events that we know of in the history book could have been swayed by a Malamar. I mean, heck, even Trump's second presidential term that's going on now could have been swayed by a Malamar. Oh, that is horrifying. Honestly, that's just horrifying to think of. Because it basically could have some real implications, if that's true. Just frightening. Those are all of the top 10 most disturbing Pokemon. Like, comment, subscribe. Sweet dreams!